PTSD is a trash can. The triggers and symptoms are ever growing. The DSM-5, which was written, I believe, last year before last, just contains basics. The VA's parameter and problems with PTSD is ever growing. And it's so growing that it's actually crossing lines with different personality disorders. You know, so you have all these triggers, symptoms, and everything else being thrown in a trash can. And if you put a magnifying glass on top of it, it brings that PTSD and everything else in your life out. And what we're seeing is PTSD can actually push a veteran, if severe enough, into a personality disorder, such as schizophrenic or schizoid-phrenic, you know, or paranoid personality disorders, or borderline. You can go through a whole list. They can be pushed to that level, depending on the level of trauma that took place not only in combat, but in the other parts of their life.
I have PTSD from Afghanistan. We got mortared. If we didn't get mortared at least 2 or 3 times a month, we were lucky. When I came home, or right before I came home from Afghanistan, I was there for the 10th anniversary of September 11th. And we got mortared probably 10 or 11 times that night. And I had one fly directly over my head where I was working. And of course that scared me. And I started having nightmares. Some are still, I can still describe some of them today. And then the next morning or the morning after that, because I worked nights, at about 6:30 in the morning, I was in the transient tents and heard the whistle of a mortar go overhead. Shot straight out of bed, scared, thinking how bad I really wanted to go home. And as you know, we tend to go with, I want my mommy. Yes, I wanted my mommy. Started having again more nightmares. After about the 3rd nightmare, I was like, yeah, I need to get some help.
Even though it's post-traumatic stress disorder, and the DSM-5 calls it disorder, if you think of a hidden injury, where like any other visible injury, like Wounded Warriors will show the amputees. Okay, what is going on inside the mind? What is the emotional injury that occurred? And that's what we try to address here, and that's what everybody's trying to focus on, is not as a disorder as much so as it's an injury. And with that said, like any other injury, you have scar tissue, you have weighing effects. They're always around, but sometimes they disappear.
I don't like crowds. Crowds kick my anxiety in real bad. When I'm in Walmart, it could be ice cold in Walmart and I'll come out sweating. And it's just because there's so many people, there's not enough places to look. When I'm driving, I know it says to stay in the left lane, the right lane's for passing only, and I can generally do that as long as there's no like big trucks or a lot in front of me. Then I have to move over because I can't see. And I always have to be able to see where I'm at to have an escape route. Nightmares are, as long as I take my prescribed cocktail, as I call it, the nightmares stay pretty much at bay. But I can tell every now and then I'll get a pretty violent nightmare.
We adjust everything we do based on the individual. If an individual they get better results out of a group therapy, we put them in group therapy. Our groups are not designed to relive or rehash what happened. We allow them a chance to discuss it one time. After that, we teach them how to deal with it and move on. We use a program, the model is called Bring Everybody in the Zone. It was designed in Killeen by an Army wife. It was I believe her husband was a major in the Army. And she said, why don't we do something to help these veterans? And what it does is it breaks down all the different skill sets and training that you were taught and shows, okay, this was useful in battle, why? Now, is it useful here as a civilian? Yes and no. You know, like anger can be useful even here because it's a protective measure. But is it good to attack somebody? No. So we teach them how to deal with that and we move forward.
I've had to learn, and through Mike, he's really helped how to adjust, but he's also helped my family realize that I'm not the same person. help them adjust. I have gone to counseling, I go to counseling, different types of things. Group's been the best thing for me here. And knowing that you don't feel quite so alone. You have other vets here that have gone through the same things. They know how to recognize other people's signals, symptoms, triggers, and they know how to kind of calm you down. If you're talking about it, it also helps because we talk about what we went through, what happens, and we learn different tools and techniques of how to combat it, how to integrate more into the civilian world. So we realize that we are civilians and no longer military.
Trendy has been a blessing, to say the least, to work with. She came in, she has a cocky attitude. She has this true Army, I can do it. I'm the army of one, get out of my way, let me do it. And when she got here, she quickly learned that she wasn't an army of one, and that she was an army of many. And it softened her. It helped her realize what she had to do.
Get help. Don't be afraid to get help. I know there's a stigma in the military that if you seek help, you're weak. I have a buddy who won't do it because he's high ranking and he doesn't want to be seen as weak for promotion. But that's not the way to go because it's only going to eat you up inside. Get help, talk to people, find fellow veterans. Come here to the Green Zone. The military peer network helps because there's ways to call, there's crisis lines you can call. Just don't try to deal with it by yourself because it doesn't happen that way.